there, welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now. Chase Sr. here with you, and no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. And coming up, what Cam Newton said about Jalen Hurts and why he's not a top 10 quarterback in the National Football League. Over the weekend during an Eagles training camp video, I posed a question to the audience. Do you want me to talk about this? And overwhelmingly, people said, yes, want you to do a video on Philadelphia Eagles Now. So we're doing it for the people. And naturally, we segue to today's poll question. Who is/was the better quarterback? Who would you take to lead your franchise? Type JH for Jalen Hurts. Type CN for Cam Newton. Answer that poll question for me down in the comment section right now. And let me start by saying this. Cam Newton at Auburn, Cam Newton with the Carolina Panthers was a special quarterback. When you watched him, oftentimes we would say he's one of one. We haven't seen a player like that at that position in a very long time. Shoot, if ever. At 6'5", 245 pounds, Cam had a unique blend of size, speed, power, and athleticism. I'm so glad that he was able to overcome the situation at Florida. Then he went to Auburn, had a great year, had a great career, won a national championship over Chip Kelly's Oregon team. What he accomplished that season at Auburn was fantastic. Right away, after he was the number one pick by the Carolina Panthers, he was able to have success and ball out in the National Football League. And Cam's highlight reel, if you were to just go onto YouTube and type in Cam Newton highlights, unique, special. That national championship season at Auburn really was incredible with what he was able to do running it, using his legs, throwing it. He had a bazooka. He looked so much bigger than every other player on the field in college. Sometimes at the NFL level, he was so much bigger than his competitors. And Cam really lived up to the nickname Superman. He looked like Superman when he was playing football at times. And his MVP season in 2015 was one of the most impressive single seasons that we've ever seen from a quarterback in the history of the National Football League. His Panthers team went 15-1, got the number one seed in the NFC, made it to the Super Bowl, but then in the Super Bowl, he fell flat, his team fell flat, and the Panthers were dominated by the Denver Broncos, led by Peyton Manning, and that overwhelming, suffocating defense. That's when Von Miller won Super Bowl MVP in Super Bowl 50. But that didn't take anything away from what Cam was able to do that year. He threw 35 touchdowns to 10 picks. He ran for 636 yards and rushed for 10 more touchdowns. 45 touchdowns total to 10 interceptions. Incredible production there. With his running ability, he still threw for more than 3,800 yards. He averaged 7.8 yards per attempt. His completion rate, low. 59.8%, sub 60%. That was really the story of his NFL career. But here was my issue with Cam, and here's my issue currently with Cam Newton. With him, the highs were high, the lows were low. At the quarterback position, you need to be consistent to be considered great. You need to be able to have longevity to be one of the great ones. And with Cam, he was way too inconsistent as a player, as a passer, and his lack of accuracy was maddening. That is not a sustainable way to play the quarterback position and have success at the quarterback position. At the end of the day, you can do all of these things. Run, extend plays, make plays out of structure, make plays improvisationally. Can you hit layups? Can you complete passes on a consistent basis? Can you win time and time again with your arm? That's how you win Super Bowls. Throughout the course of NFL history, when it comes down to it, I'd say 97% of the time, quarterbacks win with their arm. Cam's career completion rate of 59.9% is terrible. It's awful. For a player as gifted as he was, sub 60% is not a sustainable way to play the quarterback position, and it doesn't lead to consistent winning. This is one of my issues with Michael Vick, who was a special, unique, one-of-one player, highlight reel-worthy guy. He was one of the most talented, gifted quarterbacks in the history of the league. He would pull off some incredible splash plays. He would miss so many layups. And I think Cam and Michael Vick somewhat overrated throughout their respective NFL careers because of the inconsistencies with their games. As a full-time starter in his entire NFL career, Cam Newton had 3 winning seasons. Jalen Hurts has yet to have a losing season. 2021 made it to the playoffs, year 1 of a rebuild, first full year as a starter. 2022, 14 wins. 2023, a down year, 11 wins. 2024, 14 wins. Jalen Hurts already has more winning seasons than Cam Newton had in his entire career, and Jalen was drafted in the 2nd round in 2020. Jalen Hurts, a great runner, just like Cam Newton. Jalen Hurts, a more accurate and more consistent passer than Cam Newton ever was. Jalen Hurts, a better deep ball thrower than Cam Newton. Jalen Hurts, more of a winner than Cam Newton. Jalen Hurts, a better leader than Cam Newton on and off the field, in the locker room and in between the lines. Jalen Hurts, better intangibles than Cam Newton. Jalen Hurts, more selfless and a better collective leader of an organization than Cam Newton. But Chase, Cam's numbers so much better than Jalen Hurts, who has been carried given the talent of this Eagles organization. False. How about this? These numbers since Jalen Hurts became the full-time starter in 2021. 62 games total compared to Cam Newton's first 62 games. Quarterback record, Jalen Hurts 45-17. Cam Newton 30-31-1. Completion rate, Hurts 65.4%, Cam 59.5%. Passing yards, Cam has the edge there. 14,000 plus to Hurts's 13,606. Passing yards per attempt, edge goes to Jalen. Passing yards per game, edge goes to Cam. Passing touchdowns, Cam 82, Hurts 79, very close there. But Hurts, 35 picks to Cam's 54. Rating, Hurts 94.8, Cam 85.4. Rushing attempts, Hurts more, many more than Cam Newton. Rushing yards, Hurts 2,779. Cam Newton, 2,571. I thought Jalen Hurts was a tush-push merchant, ladies and gentlemen. That's what the haters tell me. Rushing yards per attempt, Cam 5.5, Hurts 4.5. Rushing touchdowns, Hurts 52, Cam 33. Fantasy points, Hurts has also been a better player there for those of you who like fantasy football. But also, this is where it matters too. Championships, Hurts 1, Cam none. Pro Bowl honors, Hurts 2, Cam 2. All-Pro honors, Hurts 1. He was the second-team All-Pro in 2022. Cam none. Super Bowl MVP, Hurts 1, Cam none. You think Jalen Hurts would have died for that football? Of course he would have. Okay, Chase, you got me there, but Jalen Hurts lives off of the tush-push. Cam Newton popped off all of these long runs to the house. How about these numbers, too? Cam versus Hurts rushing. 70.7% of Cam Newton's rushing touchdowns came from 5 yards or less. 72.7% of Jalen Hurts' rushing touchdowns have come from 5 yards or less. Most rushing yards in a season, Jalen Hurts 784. Cam Newton, 741. How about them apples? How about this comparison? Cam Newton versus Jalen Hurts, first 4 seasons as a starting quarterback. Cam has the edge for passing yards. He has the edge in passing touchdowns only by 3. Hurts has more rushing yards. Hurts has 19 more rushing touchdowns. And you know what I value at the quarterback position? Wins. Some people will use it to their advantage to say, wins aren't a quarterback stat. You're like the news media. You only try to form talking points to fit your agenda and what you're trying to prove. I care about wins for the quarterback position. Jalen Hurts, first 4 seasons as a starting quarterback, 45-17. Cam Newton, 30, 31, and 1. Intangibles, leadership, character, winning at the quarterback position. Hurts has it. Cam never really did, or at least not as much as Jalen Hurts. And this quote, pretty telling from Cam. He was asked, would you trade your MVP award for a Super Bowl victory? Direct quote from Cam Newton. I'm taking individual success because I did my job. There's levels to this. Some people are just different. You know what Jalen Hurts said famously? Money is nice. Championships are better. He wanted to get that contract done following the 2022 season quickly. He didn't want any drama to ensue with that new deal. Most importantly, he told his agent, Nicole Lynn, that he wanted to sign a contract that allowed Howie Roseman to spend money elsewhere to build a great team. He didn't care about his average annual value. And so when Cam Newton says, I can't put Jalen Hurts in the top 10 because of all the talent around him, everything that I've said disproves his opinion on Jalen Hurts. And also, this Eagles team that made it to the Super Bowl in 2024, loaded. A better team than the team that made it to the Super Bowl in 2022. But you look back to that Panthers 2015 team, all of these players were either Pro Bowlers or All-Pros. Cam Newton, Jonathan Stewart, Ryan Khalil, Trey Turner, Kawan Short, Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis, Josh Norman, Kurt Coleman. 9 players on the team were Pro Bowlers or All-Pros. You're going to sit there and tell me that Panthers team wasn't a good roster? Offensively, were they as loaded as the Eagles were on offense? No, but that was still a very talented football team on the offensive side of the ball. Why should Jalen Hurts be punished for what Howie Roseman has built around him? It is the quarterback's job to maximize that talent, bring the best out of that talent, and put them in a position to succeed. Jalen Hurts has been able to do that. Cam Newton didn't consistently. 3 winning seasons as a starting quarterback in the National Football League. Jalen, being the leader who he is, elevates his teammates to play their best. And you know what matters to me at the end of the day? Jalen Hurts will always be known as a champion and a Super Bowl MVP, not Cam Newton. And other players are going to back me up on this. Terrell Owens on Cam's comments. Cam, you're talking about Jalen not being a game changer? Look at what he did against Patrick Mahomes, man. He outplayed the so-called best in the Super Bowl, both Super Bowls. You can't knock a guy for having a good team when he's delivering in the clutch. There's one thing about Jalen Hurts. When the lights are the brightest, when the pressure is on, when the games are at the highest magnitude, he plays his best football. Cam did not. Former Eagle and Panther, Torrey Smith, on Cam's comments. Jalen is the only quarterback that gets punished because he has a competent GM. Jalen does his job with what he has. Every other GM is trying to put their quarterback in the same situation as Jalen Hurts. Superhero ball is overrated. You can win because he is your quarterback. I agree fully with what Torrey Smith had to say. Underrated player on that 2017 Eagles team. that won the franchise's first Super Bowl. Superhero ball is overrated. If you ask Tom Brady, what would you rather do? Play superhero ball or play winning ball? He would side with the latter every single day and again on Sunday. Ryan Clark, obviously he can get dramatic with what he says sometimes, but I agree with him here. We have to stop allowing people to have excuses to disrespect Jalen Hurts, historically and presently. Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback. To me, it's proximity to the GOAT. Cam Newton was an MVP. He got to the Super Bowl, and he forgot his Superman cape. When Jalen Hurts is going to the Super Bowl, he's brought his cape, and he's also brought the Avengers with him. This also backs up what Terrell Owens said. In 2 Super Bowl matchups against Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts has outplayed the modern-day GOAT. Passing yards, Hurts 525 to Mahomes' 439 in 8 quarters of play. Rushing yards, 142 to Mahomes' 69. Total touchdowns, 7 for Hurts, 6 for Mahomes. Turnovers, 2 for Hurts, 3 for Mahomes. Wins, it's equal, 1-1. But Jalen Hurts has played better in 2 Super Bowl appearances than Patrick Mahomes. Think about all of the quarterbacks who Hurts has beaten head-to-head. Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford, Justin Herbert. In games that he has started and finished, he is 2-0 against Jaden Daniels. Jalen Hurts is a winner. Cam Newton was not. So did I change your opinions on this as I pop up this poll question once again? Who's the better quarterback? Hurts? Cam? Share your thoughts with me. Be sure to give me a follow on X and Instagram. I'm always talking about the birds on my social media pages in addition to all of the shows that I pump out here.